Hi guys, so let's have a look in this video at mastering the pen tool in Affinity Designer on the iPad. What does it all mean? Well, let's get right to it. But first up, let's subscribe. Before we continue, can I urge you to take a moment to tap the subscribe option below this video. It's completely free and puts you under no obligation. It does, however, help me and I really appreciate it. If you're already subscribed to this channel, then I thank you very much. So, let's continue. The pen tool on the iPad behaves quite differently to the desktop version. Well, same commands, just different places and actions, but the same result. But it really does look quite different, so don't be confused. Now let's have a look. We're going to start with a blank canvas. The Move tool context bar shows by default. We'll explore that later in another video. Now, select the pen tool. The context toolbar shows up and it's ready to start creating designs. It has 4 modes: the pen mode, the smart mode, the polygon mode and the line mode, which are available to select in the context toolbar. Each mode changes how the line is drawn. The default mode is pen mode, and that's the one we're looking at. The other 3 are in the pop-up selector menu, as you can see just there. But as I say, we're going to concentrate on pen mode for this video. The following settings can be adjusted from the context toolbar. Edit mode. This allows you to edit nodes without leaving the pen tool. It gives the same editing behaviour as when the node tool is active. So you may have finished your drawing and you want to edit it, then you use the node tool. But if you need to edit as you're going along, just tap the edit button and you can then it'll highlight it and you can edit your work as you're going. The mode switches between pen, smart, polygon and line, and we just mentioned that. Now, width controls the width of the pen lines, and it defaults to a very small width, 1 pixel or 1 point, depending on how you've set up your document. The colour, now tap to choose the stroke colour, not the fill but the stroke. Now, if you can't get your colour to apply, just check in your colour dot up the right hand side and make sure you've got the stroke, that's the donut circle, selected and not the fill circle. Now use fill. When enabled, the concave area of the line is filled with the colour you select from the revealed fill colour swatch as you draw. But we won't be using that because I don't want to fill anywhere with colour just at the moment. I'm just showing you what the pen tool does. You can experiment, of course. Now, the most powerful and precise mode used to create Bezier lines and shapes with smooth or sharp corners and nodes. So place a horizontal guide on your document. That's in the Guides and Edit panel, Display Guides, and you can drag a guide to wherever you like. Use the pen tool, create a line by connecting 2 points along the guideline. Place the first point, place the second point, and a very thin line will be drawn between the 2 points. With snapping on, you'll see when the line is exactly horizontal because it shows that little red colour when snapping is on. Now you can check your line by selecting Guides and unselecting Show Guides in the context toolbar. See, there's our 1 pixel line. Let's expand the line. Set the line width. Now you can set the width to, for example, 10 pixels. You can do this in the context toolbar, and you can see it down the bottom there, or in the Stroke Studio, which is just below the white circle with the line through it. There's a very faint little wavy line there. That's your Stroke Studio. Very powerful area, that. Now, edit mode. You can see it's got a little blue circle around edit mode now. Enable this mode to allow editing without leaving the pen tool. Now this gives the same editing behaviour as when the node tool is active, so you don't have to switch between the two. you can just tap the edit mode and there's your line ready for edit. You can change colours, change line widths, move the line, whatever you like. And you can set the colour to red, for example. You can do this in the context toolbar or in the Colour Studio. You need to have the stroke selected, not the fill. Now you can see up the top there, in the colour panel, we've got a red donut. Now let's look at the other two options visible on the context toolbar. Those two little circles at the end there. Preserve the selection when creating new curves. Used in conjunction with any one of the other modes, it keeps the previously drawn curves selected so that their nodes and geometry can be more easily snapped to as you draw. Note, in the Layers panel, it keeps all nodes or layers selected. You can see they're all selected there, so you get little bars lined up between them. It makes it very easy to correctly align them. It's a very useful tool. Now that's the first one of those little dots that are there. The second one, two circles there, add new curve to selected curves object. So for example, if you've just drawn that line, the fourth line down there, used in conjunction with any one of the other modes as well, it creates additional curves on the same layer as the initial curve. So if I was to draw another straight line, while I've tapped that, got this blue circle, you can see it down the bottom in the context toolbar. The circle is around the add new curve to selected curves object. You've got two curves there. Well, they're straight lines actually, but they're called curves. Now they're both in that one layer. It works the same as merge curves in the edit menu. Now that's very useful if you want all your curves that are connected to some part of your design on one layer. You won't end up with, well, possibly hundreds of layers in this way. You'll have them, if that's selected, all your drawing lines will be in one layer. You can, of course, the same as merge curves. If you want to separate them, you can separate the curves in the edit menu. So let's have a quick look at the editing options. I won't go into these in detail because I'll be showing you how they work as we go along. Now break opens the shape at the selected node. It effectively separates two curves so you can work on each one separately. Close joins the start and end nodes to create an enclosed shape. Very useful. So you might have a rectangle with an open side. So if you tap close, your start and end nodes will join it up. It will become an enclosed rectangle. Smooth modifies a line or shape by adding and removing nodes to make it more aesthetic. So if you've drawn a curve and it's actually a curve and you just can't get it curved nicely, select the nodes in that line and tap smooth and it will smooth it out for you and make it look really nice. Now join connects two separate curves together to make one curve. Curves need to be both selected from the Layers Studio as you draw. So if you select two layers that have got curves on them, tap join and they'll be joined together and become one curve. Reverse, which we're going to use first, lets you draw from the opposite end of the curve. The start node becomes active, ready for further drawing. So if you draw dot 1, go along, draw dot 2, then go back and tap reverse. That lets you draw your next line, line 3, will come down from your first point of reference. And this is where I'll say it again. Reverse lets you draw from the opposite end of the curve. The start node becomes active, ready for further drawing. That's the first node there. Notice the start is blue and the end is red. There's little tiny squares. I drew the line from left to right, so it's 1 and 2 along that line. Tap the reverse tool and draw a curve or line from the first point. You see that? It's drawing it from the first, not the second point. You can continue drawing from that point. So the shorter horizontal line there, I've gone down to there and along from there. Break opens the shape at the selected node. You can see where the selected node is. It's a dark blue. Tap on break. That opens that node up, so you can then use edit to move it. The break is applied to the node that joined the angle, allowing it to now be moved away. And that's what I've done. I've moved it away so it's no longer joining up there. But you'll see that the break option in the context toolbar is now blanked out because, well, you can't use it. The only one that's available is close, which will again close that gap. We don't need smooth because we're not trying to smooth out those angles. Now, close joins the start and end nodes to create an enclosed shape. Notice in this case that the start and end nodes where I set the reverse point previously, not the end of the horizontal line. The context toolbar now shows the break tool again. So I've closed it and break becomes available. Now we've got snapping refinements. I'm not going to go into these in detail because I don't want to make this too long. Align to nodes of selected curves, snap to geometry of selected curves, snap all selected nodes when dragging, align handle positions using snapping options, and perform construction snapping. So they're all refinements of your snapping tool. Now, end caps, I think we'll be nearly at the end here. You can see the end caps there under the advanced section of the Stroke Studio, and you can change the end caps as shown. The first vertical blue line is the first cap, it's a rounded end. The second blue bar is the second cap, it's squared off at the end. The third blue bar is the third cap in that row. See the row of caps? You've got the left one which is highlighted, then the second and then the third. And they behave slightly differently. The fourth vertical blue bar is the same as the original. It's got a round cap. So that's it for this tutorial. I don't want to overload you with ideas at this stage, but just to give you some idea of what happens with the pen tool. And thanks for watching. I hope you find it useful. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the thumbs up for a like and the bell to be reminded when new videos appear. I really appreciate it.